Hello, it's Wendy, and I wanted to bring you along to a pretty busy weekend um, with the bakery this week. This is an 8-inch vanilla Vietnamese sponge cake with raspberry filling, and I believe that this will have diced strawberries as well. It's been really great having a lot of the cakes just align on the weekends. So I have the beginning of the week to like prep and bake and prepare and stuff, but the bulk of the work really happens on the weekends. So I really only work like a full day, maybe on like Friday. And usually people need cakes for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday and stuff. So it's been really great to see all the orders come in. And while I'm making these cakes, I think about the customer, and most of the time I don't know them. Sometimes I do. But I love when people tell me what the event is for, because I get to imagine like a birthday or a retirement or any of that stuff, and how I really want this cake to be very special for the event. Oh, this is my favorite part, always. Evening out the top. But yeah, I get to think of my customers, and I get to really like sort of self meditate while I do all this, because it's all really positive things, and I like to focus on a lot of negative stuff in my life. I feel like it's a lot of waiting for when's the next horrible thing going to happen. But in moments like this, when I'm making these cakes for these amazing people, celebrating something and having joy and happiness in their lives, it really is very healing internally. This raspberry cake is getting a French star tip border, which is my favorite design. I mean, the normal like star tip is really pretty too, but I just love how this one looks. This cake is also getting topped with some strawberries for decoration. Fresh fruit is an additional charge for my bakery because it's an additional cost as an ingredient. So when people pay, I try to cram on as much fruit as possible without making it look too crazy. And this says happy birthday, Emily and Casper. And I didn't film the writing because this camera is set up to accommodate my left-handedness, but I write with my right hand. So see, my arm just gets in the way, but look how cute it ended up being. So nice. And the next one is a quarter sheet cake, and this was raspberry as well. It's so funny, like none of these customers know each other, and these are all separate occasions, but so many people ordered raspberry, which I really appreciate because that just means I have to make less flavors at a time. But it was just so funny. I was like, what a coincidence. Or maybe I'm the one that's pushing the raspberries, because I post on Instagram all of the cakes that I make. So if someone asks for a raspberry cake and I make a raspberry cake, I post it and people see the post and they're like, oh, I want a raspberry cake. So if I want to make another cake, I should post different flavors, I guess. But yeah, this one, I cut out a lot of the boring stuff like filling and everything. It just seemed very monotonous. I didn't want to bore you guys. So I thought I'd get to the parts that I find really exciting. The piping, the writing. I have this sort of fear, irrational fear, that people don't really think I'm the one that makes these cakes. That I somehow outsource the work. I don't know, but it's been really nice making these videos to like show all the hard work that I put in, like all the hours and hours, because it's a lot of baking and it's a lot of time that goes unseen, I guess, and that's usually how it is for, most work. But I come from a background of like performing and acting, so like that work is very tangible, like it's very audience oriented, so everyone sees the work you're doing. So when I'm in this very exciting but very different aspect of my life, I'm like, if I don't perform the making of these cakes, then does it even count? And of course it does, because the cake itself is the art, like a physical art as opposed to a performance art. And I ended up dicing more strawberries and putting them around the edges, but I didn't film that, and it made it look more abundant for sure. And this is a tiny little 4-inch bento cake, which is my sort of signature. It's the size that started it all. And that's a very trendy thing that I saw online, was to have these little bento cakes like this in like this little to-go box. But my cakes are a little different because it's a Vietnamese sponge cake, so like the type of cake you can't find anywhere else. I mean, I'm the only one that makes it around here, which is very special and very tasty. But they wanted some ombre colors at the top, and I think the raspberry kind of like diluted the colors and made them look a little muggy a little bit. But that was a little Easter cake, and this is a chocolate Vietnamese sponge cake, very light and fluffy, and with chocolate whipped cream, one of my favorites. I am a chocolate fiend, but a lot of chocolate desserts are much more like British chocolate fondants, like they're really decadent and rich, which I am not opposed to. Not at all. Those are some of my favorites. But sometimes people want a very light milk chocolate taste. This chocolate whipped cream, that's the filling, and that's going to cover... Oh, I'm brushing all of these crumbs out of the way because I hate looking at mess, and I also don't want it to get into the whipped cream. So dusting away. But this chocolate whipped cream tastes like chocolate milk. It's like so delicious. And it's one of my favorites. And so it's not so sweet. That's another great thing about my cakes is, I mean, I really cater much more to like an Asian palate, which is a lot of fruit, not so sweet kinds of things, even though I do enjoy those things myself. Like I always say, I'm not above a supermarket cake. Supermarket cake is my favorite. Like that marbled cake with the really sweet buttercream. Oh, I love it. But, you know, that's been done. People do it all the time. Other bakers make that, and this is something that I get to celebrate as my own. Not that I came up with it or anything, but I'm just the only one around my parts, right around these parts, that make these kinds of cakes. Again, this is a French star tip. I love how it looks. I really like old school style looking cakes. And I like cakes that look delicious. I mean, a really pretty fondant cake has like its time and its place. Okay, here I am trying to show you me writing, but I write right-handed and I do everything else left-handed, so I should just move the camera, but I'll find a better setup soon. But this was a really sweet birthday cake. And I used to be so nervous writing on cakes. I just never had a lot of practice. Even when I worked in the bakery that I did, I was so rubbish at writing. And I used to get so nervous, but look how comfortable I am on camera now. The camera even adds even more stress, but I really loved finding my own style and getting better for sure. It's funny how I think about sprinkles. Again, I think about like the event and the person who ordered and who they're ordering it for. Sometimes I don't know, so I guess. And I wonder, like, should I find gender neutral colors only for sprinkles? Or are they going to get upset that there's pink on there? Like, what's going to look good with the chocolate is usually what's best. So I ended up with this really pretty sage green that I've been using a lot lately, probably because it's spring and I feel like it's a very celebratory color, this pretty green. And this next cake is an 8-inch vanilla Vietnamese sponge cake. Again, I do make what I dubbed American style cakes with buttercream, but not so much because this is my specialty. But they needed this to be dairy free. So I have a dairy free whip that I buy, and it is really stable and it holds its shape so well. It's so sturdy. And they wanted raspberry, so this is flavored with raspberry. You can see some little red specks in there. But it's so satisfying to work with because you don't have to worry about it wilting at all, and it's so strong. It's awesome. And this was an Easter cake, and they wanted some ombre colors. And I think it looks all right, but I think the perfectionism in me that is not a good quality always looks for the flaws. I'm like, why did I pick these primary colors? I should have picked more Eastery looking colors. I think it looks bad. I think it looks horrible. I did a wedding cake. If you guys saw, my last video was the wedding cake, and I was like, it's crooked, it's ugly, oh my god, they're gonna hate it, they're gonna think it's gross, they're gonna send it back, they're gonna want a refund. And I put my whole heart and soul into everything, you know? And every time I worry about those things, the customer always comes back to say that they loved the cake. Oh, that's me going to wash my hands, because after I touch anything with my bare hands, I always wash my hands. But the customer is never worried about those things like I am. Like, maybe it's because I just care about cake so much and they just care about eating it. Like, I care about the work, and it's never life and death. I always think it is, but at the end of the day, you know, it's just cake. And as important as that cake is to me, it's not that serious, and I can let these things go when I am worried about and, like, I don't know, fawning over all the mistakes that I made. But how cute are these little Cadbury eggs? These are like my favorite chocolates to have, so I only get to have them around Easter time. They're so cute. And I was like, is it too much to add something to the middle? No. I really like this customer. Not that I don't like my other customers, but she just orders a lot from me, so I like to go all out and extra, and I feel like she really appreciates that. So I was like, is it too much to add some to the middle? No, it's never too much. It's never too much. And they're just so cute, just perched on these little raspberry whipped cream mounds. But dairy-free. This whip is dairy-free. I also do a gluten-free version of my sponge cakes. Oh, there she is in all her glory. But the recipe works with gluten-free flour very well, and it's very tasty, and it's like a little nutty and has a little more depth to it. So I do dairy-free and gluten-free as well. But that's my whole day. Thanks for watching.